Away from that, the Nigerian government has ascribed the judgment over the $11 billion arbitration case by the Process and Industrial Developments Limited, also known as P&ID, against the federal government as a victory over corruption. Both Nigeria's Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Finance spoke after the weekly Federal Executive Council, saying the case, head by Justice Robin Knowles of the Commercial Court of England, and will prioritize the merits of the case above other considerations. And joining me on the news to talk about these is partner Maxon and Prime Legal, and also member of NBA National Welfare Committee, Henry Barnabas A. Good afternoon, Henry.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, glad to have you join me on the news. Now, Nigeria had been embroiled in a fight with P&ID over a failed 2010 deal to develop a gas processing plant. Can you provide some context on this case and the $11 billion arbitration award against Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much. The case started with in January 11, 2010, where a contract between the Nigerian government and P&ID was entered to provide a gas supply and processing agreement plant in Nigeria.
Okay, Henry, are you there? Henry, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go right ahead, Henry.
Yes. So the states that the plant was supposed to be was Cross River, and then minister was Rilwan Lukman, and then there were contract agreements before the main agreements, and then the contention of P&ID was that Nigeria actually frustrated the agreement itself, and so they had to take Nigeria to court. And so the process led to the first judgment, which was $6.6 billion, and then with a 7% interest rate as long as the sum remains unpaid. And so the process, from 2010, 2012, but Nigeria had to, when that...
Okay, Henry, if you're there, I can barely hear you, if you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so the president, Muhammadu Buhari, as at then, asked the then AG to investigate the judgment of that case. And during the investigation, it was now determined that there was so much fraud, preceding when the agreement was entered and, the preliminaries. And then the AFCC was asked to, investigate the particular fraud, and there were allegations of bribery, corruption, and directors from P&ID lying under oath, and which resulted to some staffs of the Petroleum Ministry as at then have been jailed, and currently I think one of the director is currently facing a jail term in Suleja prison. So with all these preliminary investigation, it helps Nigeria's case in this instance, and so Nigeria had to, though the judgment was already awarded and it was asked to be enforced, but with the latest development of corruption, forgery, and fraud, Nigeria was able to appeal the decision, and with the evidence of fraud, this particular judgment was overturned.
Okay, all right, Henry. Let me just ask you, what implication will this decision have, for instance, on Nigeria's economic and financial stability?
You can attest to the fact that Nigeria is undergoing so much economic downturn currently, and imagine the court granting the enforcement of $11 billion against Nigeria, and the enforcement is really going to eat in deep in our economic situation. So gracefully, Nigeria will not be coughing out $11 billion, and it's also will help the country in sharing out corruption in this kind of instances. Over the time in Nigeria, what some of these things happen is that there are government officials that actually, gain financial gain during this kind of agreements. So it will help Nigeria save money and fight the corruption in these instances.
Now let's talk about impact in terms of foreign investment. Do you see these having any sort of impact on foreign investment and business relationships with Nigeria?
Of a truth, the Nigeria climate, as it were, has breeded, fraud, and there are some contracts that really do not go through due process. I'm sure with the recent developments, any foreign investor who wish to do business has to be sincere, first of all, and not even have, because if you look at the instances and the preceding situation before this, the agreement never went through. And then P&ID was looking to get $11 billion, from a failed contract, which was procured by fraud. So for any foreign investor, first of all, there's now a roadmap that Nigeria has shredded every form of corruption in the system, at least to some extent. And anybody who is doing business with Nigeria will have to come clean. And any, government official will know that no matter how long it takes, the law will definitely catch up with you.
All right, thank you so much for your expertise, Henry Barnabas Enyi, who is the Prime Legal and also member of the NBA National Welfare Committee. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.